Hi, I'm Matt from Maruja.
I'm Jacob from Maruja, and these are five of our favorite rap albums.
The first one is "God Don't Make Mistakes" by Conway the Machine. This is one of my personal, all-time favorites now. Got a tiny bit of a story with it. I used to play a video game called Saints Row 2, and it was an amazing GTA-style sandbox game. And one of the main theme songs was a tune by Beanie Siegel, who's also, I think he's a New Jersey rapper. And he had like this suave charisma in his voice. It was beautiful, and it just went hard every time. Cut to years later, Harry, who's our lead singer in the band, he introduced me to this artist called Conway the Machine from a rap group called Griselda, and they're like, hell, these guys sound absolutely nightmarish, incredible, like really gritty. So I gave "God Don't Make Mistakes" a listen, and the very first song on it features Beanie Siegel, but his voice, there's something different about his voice. It's raspy, it's thin, it can barely come out of his esophagus. And then you've got Conway the Machine, who he was he was shot like in the head and the neck. So he's got what's called Bell's palsy, where half of his face is paralyzed, and that also affects his voice and the way that he speaks and raps. And so you've got these two people who have kind of gone through the gangster lifestyle where they were brought up, and they've been united in having survived shootings. And this kind of sets the stage really for this album. I think it's a gangster rap album that is very forward thinking. I think there's a lot of braggadocious lyrics and a lot of brutal lyrics, but it's also very emotive. There's a lot of themes on trauma and opening up about some very deep things that you don't usually hear in the gangster rap world. So, for instance, Conway, he had a baby son who passed away, and he struggled with depression and alcoholism. And the way that he raps about this is so heartbreaking. It's on a song called "Stressed," and that mixed in with all the fun bravado of like this wintry night, jazzy New York hip hop album. It's incredible. So that's why it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, so number two, Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I mean, there's so much to say about Kendrick that I think most people already know by now. He's a household name in terms of like iconic and legendary figures in not just rap, but also just music in general. He sort of transcends genres and time in his ability to talk about particularly like political or nuanced subjects around, you know, where he's from, the institutionalized problems within racism in America. So having Mr. Morale come out when it did, it was a little bit of a break for him. And a lot of people were maybe seeking for him to reference what's been going on with like the pandemic and obviously the Black Lives Matter movement that was going on in America in opposition to what happened with like the atrocities of George Floyd. So I think people were expecting this from him, and instead we got a more introspective album where he's dealing with, again, people wanting and perceiving to be him as this idol and as this figurehead to help cure and save the masses and the population, and particularly the culture as well. And it's an album where he's referencing this and acknowledging it and using that as well as his own personal trauma and dealing with that in one sort of absolute, it's a beautiful spellbinding album where he deals with, yeah, like I've said, those topics where people are reaching out to him because of the sort of broader scheme of downfall of what's happening in American society, but also his own personal troubles and what he's going through in therapy, his relationships with his partner and things around him. And it just makes for this insane, beautiful, mental, experimental album where you've got like We Cry Together, which is some insane manic cut and would only ever work on a Kendrick Lamar record, which fits in perfectly with the narrative of the story, and is an album that I know we love Kendrick Lamar, and he's obviously one of the best musicians of our time, but we particularly go back to that album as talking about therapy and him going through his own troubles himself in his way is such a beautiful and important thing that he's been doing that not many people have the courage to talk about in such a way. Number three is Wu-Tang Clan, End of the 36 Chambers. Yeah, this is an all-time classic. It's just it's a chaotic album, isn't it? It's beautiful and chaos in equal measures. You've got such intricate, beautiful world building from RZA's production, and then you've just got like a plethora of absolute madmen shouting just behind a microphone. Just like screaming it the whole time. It's full of so much raw power and energy. We used to slap it on every time we was on our way to a show trying to get hyped up. That and Rage Against the Machine sort of pair a similar symbiotic chaoticness to them that just gets you pumped up no matter how you're feeling the day.
Yeah, I mean everything on what he says. Like I'm a huge fan of RZA's production on it. Like it's very bare bones, like stripped back, but like really disturbing. Like I don't know, like if some of the snares they're on it are like him like clicking fingers or bones. I like to think of it as bones breaking, just because it's such a gritty New York like like escapade of an album, and it's one of them. Like it's a classic, but whenever you listen to it, it's like there's like gut busting laugh moments on it, like all the skits of the all the rappers taking turns to outdo each other in how violent they can sound. Like it's equally funny, but also there are a few tracks on there that they get to kind of the heart of like the issue with the gangster lifestyle and why it persists, you know, in kind of downtrodden places around America and I guess around the world as well. Like the economic struggles that create these environments, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just hit after hit after hit, and like Jacob said, it's just its own world, and that's why it's a classic. It's so easy to get into.
And number four, we've got The Roots with their album Things Fall Apart. Yeah, this is Joe and the band play sax. We particularly like this album. We got really into the Soulquarians and like this era of late 90s, early noughties soul, R&B, and hip hop. Questlove as a drummer, really influenced by Questlove, and obviously he was heavily influenced by the beats of Jay Dilla, and you can really hear that in the album. It's got this beautiful band orientated orchestration of creating hip hop, which I don't think you've really like had an album which is created by like bands and like musicians or people playing that in an electronic style or like a Jay Dilla like orchestrated style in such a way before. And again, like it's similar to the albums we previously mentioned, that they just creates this sonic world and the storytelling of Black Thought over the top of these like really beautiful syncopated like immersive instrumentals is it just creates a beautiful picturesque world of darkness and chaoticness, but also you can really feel this movement that they've built, the Roots in particular. But like I said, the Soulquarians with like Jay Dilla, and then like future releases from like D'Angelo and Erykah Badu and Roy Hargrove and Common, and they're all like featuring and blending into each of these worlds. And it's it's a sick record. It's just one of those which is maybe slightly forgotten about, but true fans know what this record is.
So we have Black Star, the group that consists of Mos Def and Talib Kweli, and their album Mos Def and Talib Kweli are Black Star. Is you can tell that we are really into New York hip hop, classic New York hip hop. I mean, for good reason. This is like a prime example of that wintry night cold sounding, like jazzy, beautiful hip hop that we just love to bits. And ever since high school for myself, I've been a huge fan of New York hip hop, like Nas and countless others. But Black Star was really one that was up there for me. There's songs in particular off this record, like Respiration and Themes of the Night, which are just so, oh my god, that every time I listen to them, like I just get like goosebumps, and I become like introverted in the best way. I'd be like thinking on life, and that's kind of what this album really does. I also, whenever I think of conscious hip hop, this is one that I really think of, because Mos Def and Talib Kweli, they're both like absolute wordsmiths, as everyone knows. Like they've got so much poetic genius, like in the way that they write lyrics, and how they tackle kind of subjects on racial inequality and reaching a higher plane of consciousness by just thinking about what's happening. I mean, specifically for them in America, thinking about, you know, corporate interests over the beauty of the raw beauty of life. Like it's such a stunning album for a cold New York hip hop classic. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So what made you choose rap as your topic, and or what do you pull from rap music that maybe, shows itself on the new Maruja record?
I'd say one of the things that really inspires us about rap and why we chose it is rap by itself, like it is modern day poetry, and using that whilst infused with music, I think is especially the style of music that we play, like it's very experimental, very loud, in your face, aggressive, but also like really dynamic, and able to touch on like more intimate, quiet moments that then explode into heavenly, hellish mayhem at the same time. And then combining rap where you can pick an array of topics or just one topic, and you can go so in depth on it. You've got loads of words to play around with, like the rhyming scheme itself. Kind of, it's a very challenging and expressful form of lyricism.
Yeah, like you can you just, for us, a great album or a great piece of art is it's all about storytelling and creating that world and narrative that you can lead the listener through. All of the records that we've chosen are so dense instrumentally and have such poignant, necessary lyrics in them that no matter where you are in the world, like you can relate to, or you can find an understanding, and it can have an impact on you. And that's the power of hip hop and rap, and what it can do in contrast to yeah, maybe less lyrically minded or less lyrically conscious pieces of music. As well, instrumentally, like all of these records mean a lot to us. The way that Kendrick Lamar specifically uses his voice and his cadence and flow is reminiscent to how like old school jazz bands might have a lead trumpet or a sax player picking lines, or he's very decisive in the rhythms that he chooses, which again could be a sort of a group or a band having an accompanying percussionist being part of it. So it's the way that you use your voice not only as like an outlet for lyrical content, but also the way that you can shape and change your voice to become an instrument and to yeah, asset the music in ways that people have never really thought about beforehand. So yeah, we're always trying to expand our abilities, and we've been keen fans of hip hop and rap for a long time, and we have features of such in the album. So we thought it was a cool thing to do, because yeah, people may not know how much we care and respect and look up to all these artists.
You mentioned New York rap a lot. Being from the UK, the first time you got to New York, did it sort of contextualize this music in a different way for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like one of the things I remember, like when we were driving into New York, is where were we driving from before New York? It was such a long journey.
Yeah, we came from Montreal in Canada.
That was
Played a show, and then the next day we woke up, drove like 12 hours to get to New York. So
yeah.
we all like arose in the van, trying to get sleep and this mental journey to just an island of skyscrapers everywhere and across bridges.
It's the greyest place I've ever seen. Like that, not even for the overcast sky, just the entire landscape was grey, and the only bit of pasture that I saw was a graveyard. Like, this is hard as fuck. I love this. But I remember like going into, as we were driving in, we were just popping on all these New York hip hop classics, like on our speaker in the van, and I think for myself, it just felt like it all connects. It all connects. I can see exactly where all this has been birthed from, because it's such an thriving, like mental, exciting urban environment, New York. And like I said, that it was all grey and stuff, but that's actually what I think is beautiful about it. Like I think it's a gorgeous place, and it was very important for us to be playing that place finally.
Yeah, it was so insanely New York. Like we got off and it's just like subway carriages flying over the top of us, people shouting and screaming, yellow taxis everywhere, people doing graffiti, people shouting, get out of the way. Yeah, it was perfect. It felt like we were either in all the movies we'd seen, or we were in like the background of watching albums being made. Yeah, it's exactly what we'd thought it would be like.